Warning: Superpower review is intended for a mature viewing audience. This video may show images that are not suitable for kids under 13 years old. Viewer discretion is advised. Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Kevin Dini here for Superpower Review, and thank you so much for joining me on today's video. Today we're going to be talking about Moon Knight and why so many people are jumping on the hype train and why these books are increasing in price. Just recently, Oscar Isaac has been cast to play Moon Knight in the upcoming Disney Plus series, and with that being said, of course, all these books start jumping up in price. I am joined by my good friend David Ribeiro from Specter Comics. What's up, buddy?
Hey, how's it going? Thanks for having me on. I'm actually pretty excited that you had me on here to talk about Moon Knight, because that's my favorite character.
Yeah, so you were the perfect person to have on the show. So with everything that's being said, Oscar Isaac being casted as Moon Knight, are you happy with this choice?
Yeah, actually, I had a few actors in mind when they were going to announce the whole Moon Knight show coming up, and Oscar Isaac was actually one of them. I had a few.
Really?
Pascal, is it Pedro Pascal also, the Mandalorian? He was on my radar, and then maybe Jordan Gordon-Levitt was one of the other actors. But Oscar Isaac, I think, is a great choice. He's an A-list actor. He's been in many movies like Ex Machina, Apocalypse. He's been in the Star Wars shows as well. So I think he's a great choice. He has a lot of depth, and his acting skills kind of is going to help out for the Moon Knight character because he has a lot of personalities, and I think he can tackle it.
Right. So it's for people who are watching today, and I will get into some of the key books later on in the show and what they're going for, and is it time to sell them? Is it time to hold on to them? We'll get into that a little bit. And so now, for the people who aren't familiar with Moon Knight, can you give us a little bit of an origin and backstory to this character?
So if you're not already aware, his first appearance was Werewolf by Night issue 32. In that issue, he actually was hired as a hitman to go against Jack Russell, which is the werewolf. So you didn't really get too much backstory in that until he got into the first series of Moon Knight. So he was hired originally as a hitman. He's also known as, later on in the series, you'll find out he's also known as Stephen Grant, which is the Playboy millionaire. He's also Jake Lockley, which is the taxi cab driver, kind of like a spy, trying to get information on the streets. And Mr. Knight, but later on in the series. So he has multiple personalities, and he kind of uses that to his advantage on the streets to get the information and intel he needs.
So let's jump in a little bit more into the series, the Disney Plus series that's going to be coming out relatively soon. So are there any villains or storylines you're looking forward to see in this Moon Knight series? Yeah,
so a lot of the good villains are in the original first volume of Moon Knight. So I believe it's issue 12, first appearance of Morpheus. He's early speculative, possible villain. I think it's issue 14, which is First Stained Glass Scarlet. She's been rumored early on as well. Black Specter, which is issue 25. So a lot of the good villains are in the first volume. You'll get a lot of minor, key villains in Mark Spector Moon Knight series, and then later on with the, I think the fourth or fifth volume Moon Knight. But the good villains are in the first volume, and I think they'll pull that for the actual Moon Knight series.
And again, we'll be jumping into those very minor or the key appearances in those comic books and what they're relatively selling for right now. So, we briefly talked about Werewolf by Night number 32, the first full appearance of Moon Knight. And so this book has seen a huge increase. Ever since this series has been announced, it has increased even more, and I have some of the prices here. So a CGC 9.8 Werewolf by Night number 32 is at $27,000 right now.
Like what I say, this is one of the most expensive Bronze Age keys in comics, point blank. It's very limited on the census. There's very few 9.8s. I want to say it's around under 25. So it's highly sought after and high grade. So that's why it's fetching the prices that it is.
And if you don't feel like spending $27,000 on a 9.8 copy, if you go to a 9.6, you're going to be spending at least half of that, more than half of that, and you're looking at $10,500. A CGC 9.4 recently sold for $3,600. A CGC 9.2 recently sold for $3,000, and a 9.0 sold for $2,200. So again, very unreachable. There was a time where I almost thought about buying a 6.0 because it was just there, but I was like, I don't know enough about Moon Knight. And ever since this show, I feel like I know a lot about him now.
There's a funny story. So about 5 years ago, I had the chance to buy a Werewolf by Night 32 9.0
Wow.
for around $1,000. Instead, I bought an ASM 300 9.8.
Good choice. I'll tell you that's a good choice.
I think a lot of people will say that's a good choice. So I ended up passing at the time, this was 5 years ago, now a 9.0.
Yeah.
It sells for a lot of money.
Yeah.
But either way, so it's like, if you wanted to spec on this book on high grade, you wanted to get this like 5-10 years ago, because this book has always had a huge cult following for the character itself. And before any TV announcement or any movie, it was just always a hot character.
Right. And now, do you feel like that this book deserves these prices? Are you happy to see this book grabbing these prices?
Not for me personally, because I don't have a copy, but I'm happy to see that the book is starting to get the respect that it deserves.
Right. Now, if you are looking for his second appearance, which usually is the cheaper option, these are some of the prices that this book is fetching for. So his second appearance is Werewolf by Night number 33, and a CGC 9.8 has just sold for $5,000.
Wow.
That's still a lot.
Yeah, that's steep. Wow. That's impressive.
Other prices and other grades that are selling right now are CGC 9.6 we have selling for $900. We have a 9.4 selling for $525. A 9.2 selling for $375, and a 9.0 selling for $300.
And that's also a tough book to get in high grade, because I believe it's an all-black cover.
So do you think, with everything being said, like especially Werewolf by Night number 32, if this book doesn't have any sentimental value to a comic collector, do you think it is now is a good time to be selling it?
If you bought the book, say like a couple of years ago, 2-3 years ago, you're gonna make profit on it now.
Yeah.
Because especially every time they've mentioned anything with the series, the prices of the book go through the roof. When they announced the casting of the actor, Oscar Isaac, the prices jumped again. So now you're starting to see record prices for the book again.
Right.
So once you get a trailer, because it's about to start filming early next year, you're gonna see record prices again.
Yeah, right.
It's gonna happen.
So, if you have a Werewolf by Night number 32, now's the time to definitely, sell it, or maybe hold on to it in the future and see if it,
Yeah, even hold on maybe till the trailer comes out. You're still gonna, you're gonna make money on it regardless.
Well, because once the trailer comes out, I feel like that book is just gonna go up even more. So, so now we're gonna be talking about some other key issues that people are specking on, especially some of the villains and storylines that we're expected to maybe see in the upcoming series. And so here are some of the books that I have on my list. This is your time to think about if you should keep on to them. Again, if they don't have any sentimental value to you, now's the time to sell them, make a profit on them, or just hold on to them. So here are some of the keys. We have Moon Knight number 1, which is the origin of Mark Specter and the first appearance of Bushman. This book is going for $35 in a raw copy right now.
Yep. And the Bushman is actually one of his buddies from the military.
Yeah.
So ends up going, I guess, rogue, and later on becomes a villain. So he's going to play a key role. So if you're looking for a character that's definitely going to be in the Moon Knight series, Bushman's almost guaranteed.
Up next, we have a Moon Knight number 3, and this is the first appearance of Midnight Man. But you can find this selling for $5 in a raw copy, so not too bad.
Yeah, he's a minor key in the series, not too much information on it. That's why the book's not jumping up in price.
Yeah, not too bad. Up next, we have Moon Knight number 12, and this is the first appearance of Morpheus. And so this book is, I think, highly speculated because this book is selling at $35 for a raw copy right now.
Wow. I think I picked that book up for $4.
So there you go.
Yeah, it's a great. I think this character has some legs to be in the show, especially with the whole like dark mystical aspect of the character, because there's talks about the Midnight Suns tying into the whole series. Moon Knight is supposed to be tying into many series like Blade.
Cool.
Yeah, you're going to see a lot of these characters coming in, and I think Morpheus kind of plays into the character as well.
Up next, we have Moon Knight number 14, and this is another book I believe, and again, we briefly talked about it, another book that's being speculated on, and this is the first appearance of Stained Glass Scarlet, and this is selling for about $15 in a raw copy.
Yeah, this is one of those books I still have not found in the wild. I've seen it maybe once at a Comic-Con, but it was just beat up. I think this book a couple of years ago at 9.8 was selling for over like $1,800.
Wow, really?
And then it really dropped down big time once, no information came up afterwards.
Yeah, right.
So there's a lot of great covers in the series for that book. Obviously 14 is the first appearance. I want to say it's issue 24. It's a nice negative space cover done by Bill S. That kind of like shows the character really nice. And I think she has a chance to be in the show as well. But other than that, I don't know too much about the character.
Right. So with everything, I mean, again, I don't know too much about all of these first appearances of these characters, but it seems like this is a very popular Moon Knight character to be in the show.
Yeah.
Good candidate for the show. And up next, we have the last one for the Moon Knight series. This is Moon Knight number 25, and this is the first appearance of Black Specter.
Yep.
And you can find this book selling for $50 in a raw copy.
Yeah, and that's actually a pretty good price. If you want to get in on this key now, I'd probably say $50 is a good price. Last year, 9.8s was selling around $500, $600. Tough book to get in a 9.8 because of the all-black cover. These are tough to come by in high grades, but there are some out there.
Right. And now, isn't there a like a manufacturing error variant of this cover?
Yes, so right above his hand, you'll see a little white dot.
So now we're going to be jumping into the Mark Spector Moon Knight series, and of course, you got to own a number one in this. This is it's the beginning of this title, and you can find a raw copy of this for $10.
Yeah, very affordable book for the second run, but yeah, it's a good run, good run to start reading.
Up next, we have Mark Spector Moon Knight number 4, and this is the first appearance of Midnight, and you can find a raw copy selling for $10. Now, my question to you is, what's the difference between Midnight Man and Midnight?
So Midnight was, I believe, a sidekick of Moon Knight's.
Okay.
And then later on became an enemy. Midnight Man was already a villain, like a minor villain in the first run.
Okay. Up next, we have Mark Spector Moon Knight number 6, and this is the first appearance of Dr. Friday, and you can find a raw copy of this selling for $6. I don't think this is, I put it in here because it was one of the higher price selling raw books, or, first appearance minor villain, but I don't see this one maybe happening.
And that kind of stumped me because I didn't even know it was that book was a key.
And up next, we have a Mark Spector Moon Knight number 10. This is the first appearance of Ringer, and again, this is a very, very cheap first appearance, and you can find a raw copy of this book selling for $3.
Yeah, another one of those examples. You could probably still find them in the dollar bins.
Yeah,
just
probably.
very minor key.
Yeah. Up next, we have Mark Spector Moon Knight number 22, and this is the first appearance of Chainsaw, and again, you can find this book selling for $3. Maybe, again, not a character to show up in the first series or the first season, but it is a cool cover, though.
It is, yeah. Like you said, probably not a character you're going to see in the first series, potentially second. I believe a lot of these Disney Plus series, they only do like 8 or 9 episodes. So they're probably going to stick right to the origin, name some of the appearances of the first like major villains, and then do a little bit of story drop. So not likely to see a lot of these minor keys in the second series.
Up next, we have Mark Spector Moon Knight number 57. This is the first appearance of Dusk, and you can find a raw copy of this book selling for $70.
Yeah, so this is actually one of my favorite covers in the entire run. It's a classic ASM 300 cover swipe done by Stephen Platt, which actually issue 55 is his first introduction to Mark Spector Moon Knight. And that whole series from 55 to 60 is all done by Stephen Platt. and it's just absolutely amazing cover art.
Now, so like this book, again, saw a huge increase.
Yeah.
This book at a time was selling for about $40.
Yeah.
And it was pretty pricey because not only is it the first appearance of Dust, but mainly because people were buying it because it was a cover swipe of ASM 300.
It's one of the better ASM 300 cover swipes out there that I think. But just to have a minor key in there with it adds a little bit of extra value, but really you're chasing after the cover swipe.
Yeah,
You know.
And I mean, don't quote me on this, but if I'm not mistaken, this is possibly the first cover swipe on ASM 300 that was not done by Todd McFarlane, because
It could be, it definitely could be. I don't know offhand. But.
Yeah, it possibly could be. I think so. And the last book we have for Mark Specter, Moon Knight, is number 60, and this is The Death of Moon Knight. And again, this book has seen a huge increase. This book was maybe $3 max. Now this book is selling for about $13 to $15 raw. I don't think they're gonna obviously kill him off.
Well, so there's always the potential, depending on how they go in the first few episodes. If they kind of like introduce him as the mercenary, and then go from there, and then later on gets his mystical powers from worshiping, the god Khonshu. Maybe they tease him dying as the last episode, and then he kind of rises with these new powers in Egypt as Moon Knight. So maybe that's what happens. I don't know.
Gotcha.
Something to look forward to.
Yeah, definitely. So those are all of the key issues that I have listed on for today's show. Again, maybe you want to start diving through the bins and collect these books now because maybe they'll get hotter as the show, more news of the show comes out and when it officially does come out. So maybe these are something that you should be looking for. Or if you already do have these comic books, like I said, if they don't have any sentimental value to you, maybe now is the good time to make a profit
maybe it is
on them.
the time to make some profits on them.
So, Dave, thank you so much for being on the show, man. I really appreciate it.
I appreciate you having me on here, Kevin.
Yeah, no problem. So, guys, that's going to do it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to smash that like button if you thought today's video was helpful, insightful. Comment some feedback in the comment section down below. And lastly, subscribe to the channel for future videos and to potentially win a free slab once the channel reaches 2,000 subscribers. So again, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.